Hey guys, it's Heat here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys what actually comes on the disc of the Dead Space Remake. So, I've only done one video like this before in the past, which was with the Halo Infinite disc. And if you remember, the results were quite disappointing. But nowadays, a lot of games on the disc copy, they just simply like don't have anything on the disc. A lot of games these days, it's just like a small like 20 megabyte file on a disk, and a disk just acts as a license while you end up downloading like a huge like 80 gigabyte update, which is the game itself. But what about for Dead Space? Well, the only way to test this is to install the game offline so that it doesn't download any updates. That way we can play exactly what's on the disk after installing. So right now I've got the game installing, and as you can see, it actually has 31.89 gigabytes of data on the disk. That means the disk is not empty like a lot of games these days. So that seems encouraging. But I mentioned Halo Infinite earlier because Halo Infinite did in fact have the whole game on the disk, the whole campaign at least. However, the campaign could not be played without, like a day one update, even after you've installed it offline. So that was very, very disappointing, which means one day when the servers are shut down for Xbox Live and stuff like that, then, Halo Infinite would never be playable ever again, unless you have it on PC, maybe. But anyways, in the interest of time, I've skipped ahead with most of the download with the install of Dead Space, and let's start it up and see what's actually on disc and if we can actually play the disc V1 version of the Dead Space remake. Okay, so far the game did actually start up. It did not, prompt me for any updates or anything. It actually is loading the menus and everything right now. So that seems to be very encouraging so far. But let's wait and see and make sure that we don't have another Halo Infinite situation on our hands here, because again, that was extremely disappointing for like game preservation and other stuff like that with Halo Infinite. But here we are on the main menu, and we actually do have the whole main menu available. In fact, the V1 version even recognized my game saves from the the later versions, the fully updated versions, which I didn't want to start it up on my current save just in case I might mess it up. But that's not really like a scenario that you need to worry about too much. But I'll just start up a regular new game and see, what we got. And so far, it hasn't given me any issues. In fact, we are actually in the campaign now. It's just started up. No issues at all here. So it would seem that we actually have the entire playable campaign, the entire playable Dead Space remake available on the disc. So huge applause to Motive for that, and EA as well, for actually including the entire game, an entire playable version of the game on the disc that can be played offline without any updates. That's becoming increasingly rare these days with modern games, at least on the Xbox. And even in a lot of other cases on the Xbox, even when the game does actually come on a disc, for cross-gen games, a lot of times what comes on a disc is the Xbox One version, and the Series X cannot play Xbox One versions of games offline without like a patch. So that happens a lot. But since this game, this version of Dead Space Remake, it's Series X only, it does actually come with everything on the disc. And I don't think the PlayStation version has this issue either, because PlayStation doesn't have like that smart delivery system. So when it does have cross-gen games, it would have like two different copies of it, one for PS4, one for PS5. But for Dead Space Remake, it doesn't matter. That's next gen only, or current gen only, I should say. And impressively, everything is playable on this disc. So huge applause for Motive and EA, because I feel very strongly about games being playable off the disc. Well, not off the disc, but like game content being on the disc and installable and playable without any online updates whatsoever. Because down the road one day that will matter for game preservation. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found it to be interesting. And if there's any other games you want me to check out or test out for this, see what's on the disc, just let me know in the comments down below. But aside from that, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.